Welcome to the Reciproc Blue key concepts, the key concepts for the file and the key concepts for the protocol.
Reciproc Blue is a reciprocating file system. It's blue because of its heat treatment, giving it cyclic fatigue resistance, and it's a simple system to use for all your treatments.
The file has an S-shaped cross-section with a non-cutting tip, so it's very efficient and very safe, and it also has a variable taper allowing it to shape apically, but preserves some of that dentine coronally.
We're going to use two files for this protocol, the R25 Blue for orifice opening, and then the R-Pilot, the proprietary file for glide path shaping.
The glide path instrument, the R-Pilot, has M-wire, so slightly different to the blue wire that we see, a bit more cutting efficient. And once we've established the opening and the glide path, we'll do the final shaping using the R25 Blue Reciproc. For those slightly bigger cases, we can use the R40 and the R50, but let's have a look at the protocol. We're now going to have a look at the Reciproc Blue protocol. It's quite an interesting instrument because the Reciproc Blue is one of the few instruments that we can prepare a canal without basically creating a proprietary glide path.
Yeah, and in this case, what we'll look at is a case that maybe is straightforward. So we'll have a look at the files that we're using, and we're only using 3 files in this case. So we have a size 10 C-Pilot 10 file, the Reciproc Blue, which has our proprietary blue heated treatment, and it gives you that controlled memory, so it has enhanced flexibility, cyclic fatigue, and it allows you to pre-curve those files if you need to access those posterior teeth and just find the orifice slightly more easily. And then the last file that we'll use today is our size 25 hand file to gauge the apex, and we'll have a look at it at the end. So first things first, we're going to have a little scout with a size 10. And we always put a small curve just at the tip of the file to make sure that we go around any blockages, any curvatures, any calcifications. And all I'm doing is just a very slight gentle watch wind, just to have a little feel of where this canal is going, how difficult it might be. I'm getting there, and I'm working hard now.
Yeah, and I think if that size 10 is flowing down a canal like this, then it becomes a canal that we can treat with Reciproc Blue in this fashion. If the size 10 is impeded or it's a bit more complicated, then we'll need to look at a slightly different approach to a treatment like this.
Exactly. So in this case, our size 10 is going to 2/3 of the canal. So I think we can use the Reciproc Blue to do the whole glide path and working. So we've got our Reciproc Blue in place. We'll find the canal, and all I'm concentrating on is the coronal aspect. I am enlarging the orifice. I'm not looking at pushing the file, I'm just working the coronal aspect. So I can feel it engaging, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3 motions. And you can see how I'm just brushing away from the furcation area.
It's a super efficient file, Reciproc. It has a non-cutting tip as well. So it's got a really lovely innate property that it will follow the canal that's there. Again, if it's not advancing, then you're going to need to kind of sidestep to a slightly different approach to this treatment.
Absolutely. So all I've done is orifice enlargement, hypochlorite in there, size 10 in there, again, just to make sure that everything is nicely opened up.
It's amazing how much further it goes down just with that simple opening, actually.
Absolutely. And again, I don't have my 0 reading with the size 10 yet. I'm just going to take my R25 Blue a little bit further. And remember, 3 working passes, because this is a really efficient file, so it creates a lot of debris. So nice finger rest. I've got a bit of support on the file. And again, you just let it bite 1, 2, and 3. And you can just see the debris. And I'm just resisting the file bringing me in. And as you use it more, your muscle sensors will get used to it, and you will be able to control it a lot more.
You almost sort of feel it takes you in, it kind of advances with you, and then you're almost kind of like coming back with it.
Absolutely. So you're almost working on the way out rather than the way in. And remember, my size 10 was getting to 2/3 of the canal. The Reciproc Blue was getting almost there. Let's get my size 10 again, just flying through all the way to the end. And I'm just going to do a little bit of watch winding there. And I'm just biting with the size 10, clockwise and pulling, biting clockwise and pulling, and see if I can establish patency.
And you'd have an apex locator attached at this point, so you're getting an idea, you're getting towards the canal terminus. And once that apex reading of 0 is achieved, we know that we've got the entire length of the root canal.
Exactly.
Once that's in, then what Luca will do is he will set his R25 Blue file. So this is the shaping file, remember, just 0.5 millimeter short of that. He does that so that he can contain the preparation within the root canal. It will create the form and the shape, which will be held just behind the apical foramen, so we contain the obturation within the root canal, which is really important.
Excellent. And my size 10, I've just worked it, as you could see, if you look at the stopper, just slight quarter of a turn, I would say, clockwise to engage and up, engage and up. And I've got my patency now. So I've got my episcillator on, 0 reading, beeping, that's my 0. And as John said, I will use my Reciproc Blue now to start shaping, but I will measure it to 0.5 millimeter back from that.
So the irrigant's in there again, sodium hypochlorite throughout the treatment. And as Luke has done a couple of passes with that Reciproc already, we can already see that the needle was getting a bit further down. So we're getting that delivery of that important hypochlorite into the critical part of the root canal.
Now remember, it's 3 passes, and if I don't get to my working length straight away, that's okay. That's absolutely fine. So 3 working passes again. So let's see. Got 1, 2, 3, almost there. I'm very close, but this is where you just resist that urge to push. You let it drag you in a little bit, you resist it, you come out, you're not quite there, you irrigate. There's quite a lot of repetition in this. Irrigate, and remember, get your size 10 back in there just to make sure you haven't lost patency, because it's an efficient file that creates lots of debris. Again, remember, slight clockwise, picking, lovely, got patency, look at that, flying down. Excellent. And then I'll put a little bit more hypo just to make sure I've got some fluid in there. And reciproc again. Make sure that the flutes are nice and clean. We've got these lovely sponges that are very useful. Activate, support. We've got 1, 2, 3. Brilliant. I've hit my working length on the 3rd pass. Now, if I hit the working length at my 2nd pass, I'm happy with that to stop at that pass, I think.
Yeah, I think when you've got a file like the Reciproc Blue file here, it is you hit length and then you come back. Okay, different instruments work differently, but with this particular instrument, you're hitting length and coming back. So you're not over preparing the apex, you're not causing any transportations, and you're creating that sort of capture zone for the GP cone, which will subsequently go in for the obturation.
Lovely. And look at that. That's my size 10, hypo, check patency, fantastic. Now, we are not done yet because there are 2 measurements in the canal. There's the length, which we've just established with our episcillator and our working length, and there's also the apex size, so the gauging, how big is it? Now, we're going to set our size 25K file to our working length because our Reciproc Blue R25 is a size 25 at the apex. So I'll set this to my working length, maybe put a little bit of curvature on it because that root was a bit curved. And again, all I do is I just seat it at my working length. I'm going to zoom out. And what we do now is we put a little bit of digital pressure. We don't push too hard, put a little bit of digital pressure to make sure it's sitting there at working length. Now I'm happy that I've got my working length established and my apical gauge, the apical size established, and I can progress to obturating with a matching cone.
And I think you'll often get a decent idea with the preparation there that if you've got debris in the flute of the file apically, you know that the preparation is pretty much completed. So we've seen there with the demonstration Luke has nicely done there with the Reciproc Blue. We've used the Reciproc Blue to do some opening, to follow down after a size 10, and also then to create the apical preparation. It is a diverse file system as well. So we've got glide path files, we've got wider instruments as well for a slightly different selection of root apices. So if you're interested to have a look at that, we've got some more videos for you, but I hope you enjoyed the R25 Blue basic protocol.